When is this going to change? Welcome to the Hen Report. This is Jasmin Singer.
This is Mariann Sullivan.
This is Murray. Hopefully you know that by now.
He's the cute one.
He's very...
not that you're not cute, but let's face it.
He's very noisy.
The competition is stiff.
And Vicky keeps telling me that my mic is picking up absolutely everything, so I'm a little concerned that it's picking up his grunting.
I can't hear him.
While he's grunting. Grumbling.
I'm sure people will be willing to put up with his grunting.
For sure. So just a quick reminder about the Our Hen House podcasts. Rising Anxieties comes out on Tuesdays, the Hen Report on Thursdays, and the long-form interview on Fridays. Bonus for Flock members comes out on Mondays. We are on YouTube. We're on all of the podcatchers. So hit subscribe, hit like, and comment wherever you listen. So we finally got to see The Sheep Detectives. And I know we wanted to briefly chat about it. It's a really good movie.
It's really good.
Yeah. It's just to kind of briefly...
as a movie.
Yeah. To briefly summarize, it's
fun.
It's just about this herd of sheep who have their person who suddenly winds up dead, and they're trying to figure out why. And along the way, there's a lot about like one sheep happens to know that the rest of the sheep get killed for their meat, but he doesn't want to tell them, and they have very short memories that they're able to reset. And
don't you wish? Well, maybe it would be a bad idea. It was a bad idea for them, but it made their lives a lot better.
To not know?
Yeah, they just said 1, 2, 3, and they forgot everything.
There are definitely things that I would like to not know.
Yeah.
That I would like to
I don't know whether people think that's true of sheep. They probably do. When actually sheep have remarkable memories, but I digress.
Right. The one fatal flaw, so to speak, from an animal rights perspective, is that like wool production was sort of glamorized in it, and it was presented as totally unrelated to meat production, which of course is not true.
Right. It is true. And, I don't want to be too cynical because it's Hollywood and they got to do what they got to do. And they live in the real world and need to sell movies in the real world. But, the good guys were vegetarian.
Yeah.
And the bad guys were like butchers.
Yeah, they were butchers, right.
So there was a lot of good stuff in there. It was not a complete picture.
Yeah.
And also, I just always wonder... Maybe I'm too cynical on this front. I wonder what these movies that present, animals who understand English and who talk amongst themselves, like all these things that animals actually don't do. I always wonder whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I noticed there was like a family in front of us in the movie theater. There was a kid there, and there was some mention really briefly in the movie of like, something along the lines of, it's not like they would eat us, or something like that. That wasn't the words. And the family in front of us went, oh, like they laughed, and I was like, interesting. Yeah. Okay,
that's not funny. So it's the vegan retort to that. Did you knock on their shoulder and say, that's not funny?
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's a good vegan.
Then they went vegan. And they were like, you smuggled seltzer into here. I'm going to go tell. But anyway.
Don't say that out loud. We'll get arrested.
Moore was so worried that we would get caught.
Yeah, no, I am with her. I don't like to take chances of being embarrassed. Of course, everybody who works there is 12. I really don't think they were going to challenge us.
But okay, going back to what you said, like, there's movies like Wallace and Gromit. There's movies that are so unbelievably animal rightsy that you don't even have to like squint your eyes to find the animal rights messaging in it. And like we meaning animal rights people are always like, yay, it's in the mainstream, that'll do it. And then like life goes on and people continue.
But it's probably a good thing.
And so
it's not the ultimate fix. And Wallace and Gromit, they eat cheese all the time.
Everything is flawed, for sure. But Chicken Run, they were trying to escape.
Chicken Run.
They were trying
Chicken Run was the real animal rights movement.
But so my point is, this is based on nothing but what I think. This is not based on any research that probably Faunalytics has deep dived into. But I tend to think children might connect the dots more with movies like Sheep Detectives than adults would.
Yeah, well, they're usually quote unquote for children, though we certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I do recommend it.
It's a good movie. It's just fun.
Like the fact that I didn't fall asleep says a lot.
It was a miracle.
'Cause
especially since we were in the theater with, those lounge chairs, which I guess almost all the theaters have now.
Yeah.
But, like, geez, it's just
You might
so
as well
comfortable.
come and sing me a lullaby and like but
And yeah, you fall asleep even in old-fashioned movie seat
all
theaters.
The time. I fall asleep in like raucous Broadway musicals. If I'm sitting down and the lights get turned off, I'm out.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fun.
There's a lot of news this week. So why don't we get to it?
Yeah, we actually mentioned a couple of these things on the interview, which we already recorded, but which is coming out on Friday. But we're going to mention them again because they're such a big deal. We had 2 major victories. Well, one is almost a victory, and the other one I think is a real victory. The foie gras sales ban, sponsored by Pro Animal Oregon, for Portland, Oregon, passed by a narrow margin, and they have restaurants there that sell foie gras, and now they have banned it. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We tend to be a little cynical about foie gras bans, like, is that really the best we can do? But when they happen, I sure am happy because, it means somebody stood up for animals in some way whatsoever. And the octopus farming ban in New York State. And you're thinking, New York State has oceanfront? And of course it does. Long Island is a total oceanfront part of New York State. And the octopus farming ban passed by a wide margin, both the Assembly and the Senate, and now is going to the governor. Who knows what the governor will do? She seems very unpredictable to me. And, got to follow the money here. But I don't think there is any money, or not everybody would have voted for it. So excellent, excellent work. And shout out to Voters for Animal Rights, which I think has really been, there are a lot of, as always, there are a lot of organizations that were involved, so I shouldn't say just them, but they've really been carrying the torch on this. So, yay!
It's just ironic because I think that I've been using it as an example of things that never move forward, and then it did. So
you have to come up with a new depressing example,
right? Yeah. Okay. That's good news. There's more good news.
Well, yeah, I wasn't sure whether to mention this because he came in 7th, but apparently in Italy, to come in 7th in a really big bicycle race is a very big deal. What do I know? His name is Michael Storer, and the reason I'm talking about him, he's vegan. So yay, go Michael.
Go
He's
Michael.
A professional bicycle racer. These people are very serious about bicycle. And the race took 3 weeks to complete. They are really into bicycle racing in Italy. I have relatives. Even though I'm not Italian, I have relatives by marriage in Italy. And believe me, they are into bicycle racing. All right. This is a little weird one, but I just thought I would add it because the industry is always talking. Has always been pushed like to use some anesthesia when they do horrible things to animals. It's not much. It's a little, but they won't do it. Well, they're doing it in Peru. So there, like anytime the industry says they can't use anesthesia for teeth clipping, nail docking, and castration. Like, really? You can't even give them a little painkiller? Well, they're going to have to improve. Well, it's not actually a done deal. It's almost a done deal. But it still has to be approved. And God knows, follow the money. So we'll see whether it is. But for the moment, yeah, they have to use a little painkiller. What the hell? Welfare reforms. The constant debate. Does this actually do anything? Does it actually raise the price a little bit? Does it just relieve the pain a little bit and not really take steps forward? I don't know. But we do what we do, and different people do different things, and that's a good thing, I think. All right, the Farm Bill. A little update. The Save Our Bacon Act. Everybody's been calling, I'm sure. Keep calling, but it's looking good. That's all I'll say. That's what I've been told. I don't really know more than that. That's all I'll say. But Apparently, they have been inundated with phone calls, so please keep adding yours. And that in itself, it does have an impact on them. And then there was this fascinating article. Oh, this is something we have to remember all the time. I know I talk about it all the time, so sorry, but this is an article from the Washington Examiner, which is a pretty right-wing newspaper. Warning for Senate Republicans. Maha voters oppose Save Our Bacon Act. This is just so important for us all to remember that we are in the era of strange bedfellows, and a lot of people, I mean, unless you are, a Trump supporter, which you're probably not since you're listening to this, but you never know. Welcome. Um, and a lot of Trump supporters, especially in the Maha area, agree with a lot of some of the stuff that we agree with. And certainly, this is talking specifically about Anna Paulina Luna, who's a Republican of Florida, and she was one of the leaders in trying to keep the Save Our Bacon Act, which of course is the I don't think I even explained what it is. It's the legislation that they're trying to pass to get rid of all of the reforms that have been passed for farmed animals, on a state basis, particularly attacking California's Prop 12, but would attack much more than that, which is basically getting rid of particularly it's about the pig industry's interest in getting rid of the bans on gestation crates. All right. I hope that was complete. All right. So this Representative Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican, was the leader in trying to keep this out of the Farm Bill. She didn't succeed. It's in there now, but apparently they've gotten 10 billion calls, and it's looking good.
That's great.
So keep calling.
That's so great.
And it's great that we would have that victory. It's great that we would have a victory, like that they would have to listen to us, because that doesn't happen that often. That they realize, oh, I see, people care about this. So keep calling your senators, and maybe we'll have a victory here. Like, it seems to be the week of victories. All right, our next article I take personally because we did an undercover investigation about what Kenny Torella is talking about here in this article in Vox. The name of the article is "Meat Companies Keep Promising to Do Better. They Almost Never Do. A new undercover investigation reveals why you can't take meat companies at their word." Interestingly, this is about a fish company, not a meat company, but same difference. And it has to do with an undercover investigation at Cooke Aquaculture. And we did both an interview with the undercover investigator, Aaron Wing, back in the day. And I did an animal law podcast interview with the folks from Animal Outlook. And they sent in the undercover investigator, like, it was hell. She had to witness all of this horrible cruelty. She had to work hard. They released the undercover investigator. Everybody's like, oh, horrified. This is terrible. I won't say what they found, but it was really bad. Really bad. Just horrible, terrible stuff done to these fish. All right, so Animal Outlook released the video. The Cooke Aquaculture CEO, Glenn Cooke, apologized, agreed this was terrible. That's a family company. Oh yeah, Glenn has a family. They all have fucking families. Like, they think that makes them good. We place animal welfare high in our operating standards and endeavor to raise our animals with optimal care and consideration of best practice. I am very sorry that this happened. Well, Glenn Cooke was apparently full of shit. What a surprise. And they did a follow-up investigation. Maine, this took place in Maine, and the Department of Agriculture had investigated, but they didn't file any charges because they promised to do better in the future. They didn't. So they did this follow-up undercover investigation, and they found that it's just as bad as it always was. And great article, highly recommend it. It explains why we can't take animal agriculture companies at their word. This happens all the time. But when we do an undercover, when undercover investigators go in again and find things out, of course, it was a new undercover investigator. That's not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
When they do, they find that, all too often, there haven't been any changes. It's all just window dressing. Nobody's making them make changes. They don't care. Like, it's just all lies. I know you're not surprising, but it is infuriating. I just want to mention, I won't go into what was going on with these fish because it's disgusting and it's just, you don't need to hear that, I guess. But I'm going to talk about what a manager who worked at the hatchery in 2019 when Aaron Wing went in, was still employed there in 2025 and said this to the new undercover investigator, who we didn't know was an undercover investigator. I hunted her down and found her on Instagram. I was going to send like a horse tongue or something to her at Yale. I was going to send her like a deer tongue or something, or like brains, because she's like an animal activist bitch.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
So she is apparently taking precautions to protect herself and her family. Makes me so mad. I'll just read the way Kenny concluded. Meat, dairy, and egg companies reveal who they are when they think no one's watching, and we should listen. Everything else, the statements, the apologies, the promises to reform, is just noise. Well, ain't that the truth?
That's gross. So, do we have an update on on dogs? Which is, did you see Marie just perked up when I said an update on dogs?
He doesn't like to listen to bad things happening to dogs.
Oh my God. So it seems
put your hands over his ears.
You are coming through my earphone.
All right, this is about Ridglan. This is outrageous. It's actually about the University of Wisconsin. I don't know whether you've heard this story, but the University of Wisconsin found out that some of their students who belong to the Animal Rights Club, I forget what it's exactly called, like put out a flyer and encouraged people to go to Ridglan, the recent Ridglan rescue. And they investigated the club, and there were allegations that it had violated the code of conduct because this promoted illegal conduct. And the group, called Animal Advocacy, listed ways to contact organizers and politicians and directed readers to animal rights activist Wayne Shung's blog post. And in that post, Wayne's post said that they would both be protesting and entering Ridglan Farms and removing dogs from the property. And so they put this flyer out. And now the university is investigating the club. They're trying to make clear that they're not bringing criminal charges. Like, yeah. And the president, Jackson Ray, of the club, said this is a blatant violation of our First Amendment rights. No shit. And they have to go before the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards. I understand that lawyers from the University of Denver's Animal Law Clinic are going to be representing them there, which is great. And so all right, you think that's the bad story. That's the least of it. So then it comes out that the University of Wisconsin is in business. I mean, has bought beagles from Ridglan. I mean, obviously,
oh my God.
Here. Records show Ridglan beagles at UW-Madison were injected with blue dye, then euthanized and dissected. That's one of the reports in the local press. The records, quote, may be distressing. No shit. I'm pretty distressed. Let's see. I think I have another article. Oh, this is from a local news channel. UW-Madison details anesthesia study involving dogs sourced from Ridglan Farms. So all this information starts coming out. These people had better get used to it. We are better than they think we are. We are smarter, we have more resources, and we're not the animal rights movement of old. We have resources, and they're going to get found out. And I think this is just unbelievably embarrassing. All right, just one more. I know these updates are a little depressing.
This is a depressing one. I actually didn't send this.
Another carriage horse has dropped dead in New York
City.
Okay,
I have something to say.
All right, say it.
It seems that the carriage horse industry and the carriage horses who are dropping dead is a cyclical issue that never changes. I'm saying that I'm saying that because that's what I said about foie gras. But it is true.
Oh,
like when is this going to change? When is this going to change?
I see. Yeah, no, like this has been an issue, because I lived in New York City for as long, there was like on the table an issue that people were talking about when I first got involved in the mid-90s. And it had been an issue for years before that with activists working on it to get these poor horses out of the city. And they're still in the city and collapsing and dying on the street. Well, that's a lovely tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So Voters for Animal Rights, which, as I mentioned before, is outstanding, and they're located in New York City, is on it. On Thursday, the city council will reintroduce Riders' Law, which is the legislation that would transition New York City away from horse and carriages and retire the horses. And it's just about time. This is, oh God, this poor little thing.
Yeah, I can't even dwell on
Worked
this one.
to death. We work horses to death in this country.
Yeah. It's just, I just don't even understand how it is still glamorized and people still think it's okay. But they do. It's in a part of their brain where this is okay. And so, and then something, like I was just complaining to you this morning because I noticed that someone who I was in that play with recently posted something about whale meat and how completely upset she was that whale meat existed, and click here to sign a petition or something. And, yeah, it's awful. But like, why is that where the line is drawn?
Because it's an animal that we don't eat in a country that we don't live in.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. And, they're whales. Admittedly, they're particularly beloved. But why aren't cows particularly beloved? They're completely lovely animals.
Yeah. I know that, like, in fact, I wasn't planning on mentioning it because it's so obvious. I just said to you, it's like stupid people just being stupid in a normal, stupid way that stupid people are.
But, we shouldn't, there should be a way to appreciate that somebody cares something about some animal without just hating them because they don't care about all the other ones. That's always a challenge.
I agree.
But, we want to leave that door open. We don't
want
to close it.
It's a good advocacy moment for anyone when they see someone who doesn't get it about farmed animals start to connect the dots about other animals who are farmed that they didn't realize, like whales. It's a good moment for us.
Many of us started with one particular animal.
I didn't. My way into veganism and animal rights was more kind of an overarching justice issue. I didn't specifically connect with a particular animal. I was just more like, I care about justice. It just seems like a natural extension to extend that idea of justice to what I'm eating and what I'm not. But
yeah, I certainly, there are many different ways in, and I think that's a really important one. But, I think my first interest in what's going on with animals was about dogs.
Yeah. I do love that. Murray thinks that everyone should care about dogs.
Well, specifically poodle. Actually, specifically Murray.
Murray wants us to change the name of our hen house to our dog house.
All right. Our Murray house.
Do we have anything else?
We'll just talk about Murray every week.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Our ratings will skyrocket.
That's the key to success.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else?
Let's see. I have a couple of updates for people who are interested. This stuff going on with horse slaughter, shockingly enough. The House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee has officially advanced legislation that would prohibit the transport of equines destined for slaughter. So I'm not sure this is exactly the same as the SAVE Act, which has been, the animal-related SAVE Act, not the voter-related SAVE Act. That's been, I'm just really not sure, so I shouldn't talk through my hat. But this seems like progress, and, it's definitely bipartisan. We're the only bipartisan issue left.
Yeah.
It's really extraordinary. So, yeah, another thing to get on, there's a lot of I happen to see a alert from an organization called Wild Beauty Spirit, but there's also the ASPCA, AWI Online, and all these other organizations who are working on this. So that's really interesting. It's definitely the legislative season, and there just seems to be more animal stuff going on than there have been in years past.
I agree. It's something that seems to be slightly shifting. Even if it's not shifting as much as we want it to be, there are more conversations happening on higher levels when it comes to animal policy and animal cruelty than I've noticed in recent years.
I think you're right. Well, another thing I thought I'd tell people about. This was a talk, and it's on YouTube now. And I just thought it was a talk that was given at the Grassroots Animal Rights Summit. And I think all of the talks are on YouTube now, if you're interested. This one particularly stood out to me. It's Chris Carraway and Darius Fulmer on a Know Your Rights panel. And as the movement is progressing into activities that they may argue are illegal, and that people might take risks. Not that you ever have to take risks, but it's good to know, just in case things get dicey, to have experienced lawyers explaining, how important it is to know your rights in protesting and activism, and giving you some tips on how to protect those rights. So I thought people might be interested in that, so I thought I'd highlight it.
I think it's important to brush up on that kind of thing from time to time. I was telling someone something about protest rights recently, and I realized that it's been a really long time since I actually checked in with what the right way forward is.
Yeah, actually, me too. Just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean you automatically know all this stuff.
Remember that time
Shockingly.
remember when my grandma asked you, she was like, "You're a lawyer. Is my car parked legally?"
It is not that unusual for people to think that you know every law.
It's like if someone has like a PhD in like I was going to say a PhD in creative writing. That makes no sense. But if someone has like, a PhD in philosophy, someone would be like, "You're a doctor. Can you look at this rash on my boob?" It's kind of the same thing.
Oh, that would be odd. But I would expect a PhD in philosophy to know all the philosophers, so maybe I'm just as bad.
I would hope so. I would hope they would. Certainly Peter Singer and Tom Reagan.
I think that's all I've got for this week, unless you want to add some other insights.
Well,
I think that people should definitely watch the interview this week.
Oh,
It's our Flock Friday interview with Greg Tully
yeah.
and Liliana Pacheco of Animals Unbound, and it was fascinating.
It was really fascinating. I loved it. It was really good. So I definitely recommend that people check out the full episode of the full interview, which is tomorrow. And thank you so much for tuning in today. And I am sure that we will talk to you very soon.